Greetings. It's another episode of It Belongs in a Museum, where we're going to be presented with a interesting scientific or historical item or person and have to decide if it does belong in the illustrious museum of Illinois Jackson.
A
I,
char- it's a character that I have never approved of, nor was I consulted on whether or not it should be a thing.
I'm Andy,
I'm Mark.
and introducing this episode, it's weird. It's a modern topic. It's scientific based, so you'd think that the news around it would be easier to find, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. In fact, the piece of information that got me so interested into researching this may have been hallucinated by AI or made up by a journalist.
What?
So I didn't know how I was going to introduce this. Do I make a Metal Gear reference? Do I go Marvel 90s comics? Do I go Cobra Commander?
I have an idea for her intro. I don't know what it is.
We're talking about Tim Friede. He made the rounds on social media recently because of a New York Times article, which was either the scoop of the century in part of it, AI hallucination, or made up.
Okay.
So, let's get into it. Tim Friede is a Venom expert, not because of his love for Marvel Comics, nor an education from a prestigious university, but because over the last 20 years, he has self-administered over 700 escalating doses of snake venom and been bitten more than 200 times. He is now immune to bites from cobras, black mambas, rattlers, and many other venomous snakes. His blood is being used to develop universal snakebite treatments and has been awarded by the National Institute of Health.
Okay, so
He's the snake-proof man.
I'm gonna be honest, snakes aren't like that prevalent as an issue. It's not like, oh, on my way to work, a snake attacked me.
Well, over 5 million people annually get bit by snakes.
Okay, it's just
Hundreds of thousands die from snake envenomation every year.
okay. Just why would someone do this to themselves?
So he started off he got bit by a non-venomous snake as a child. And he was like, "Well, shucks, why'd you do that?"
Like, where's this guy from?
It's technically, I think he's from Wisconsin, but
Like, I was picturing a guy who, and this might be insensitive, was Australian. Like some
Australia will come up in the conversation later.
okay, because
They do have the most venomous snakes.
this type of thought process of I'm going to immunize myself by injecting myself with snake venom slowly over the span of however long.
20 years roughly.
Jeez,
Well, that's when the
that
immunization stuff started.
but
He's been getting bit since before then because he was wrangling snakes.
but it's just this is the type of thought that only happens when you live in a place that is being baked underneath the sun for a long time.
So he would chase snakes, he had scorpions, and then when he was a kid, he was like, "Ow, that bit me, but it's not that bad, I guess. But I should start building up in it like a tolerance." So he started letting them bite him in smaller doses so that he wouldn't be like as, endangered by his pets.
Okay,
But we're
so
putting the horse before the carriage, and horses will come up too.
did horse venom come up in this?
So in 2017, Jacob Glanville, a young principal scientist at Pfizer, you might remember them, they made COVID vaccines.
Ah,
He left Pfizer to create his own company, Distributed Bio. So Distributed Bio wanted to extract antibodies that vertebrates develop to counteract toxins, bacteria, and viruses. So he was originally doing research for melanoma survivors. And he was looking at people who had basically repeatedly had issues in their bodies because of repeated exposure, had developed a strong ability to fight it.
huh.
And in researching this, he ended up going down an internet rabbit hole during a lunch break of his, where he just typed in repeat venom survivors to be like, well, let's compare how the bodies react. Where he then discovered the YouTube channel of Tim Friede.
Ah,
Now we go into the origin story of Tim. You see, he's originally a truck mechanic in Wisconsin.
oh, I thought said it was like work related that he was being bitten by snakes. He was like a snake wrangler.
Well, he also would wrangle snakes for his neighbors.
Okay, so this was just like,
For the love of the game, yes.
okay.
So I reached out to him on Facebook actually for clarification on a future thing that we're about to get to, and he hasn't gotten back to me. And so I was like, well, you know what? We'll just do another update in the future if that becomes relevant.
This is...
So he was aware of the dangers of his growing venomous hobby contained, and he did the only logical thing. Instead of getting rid of them, he started building an immunity to snake venoms.
That's not the only logical thing.
Initially, he would collect various venoms and then dilute them before injecting them. So
Dilute them with what?
Like water or saline. I don't know. I didn't ask. But, like an IV drip. But there's a way to get venom that doesn't involve letting them bite you. But unfortunately, the term is milking, which is, I think, the wrong term.
Yeah, it's...
We need a separate term.
I saw footage of how they do that. It's like they put that, like a...
No, I know.
When you get food and you put like the cover over it.
Yeah, they put Reynolds wrap.
Yeah, Reynolds wrap over a cup and they just have the snake bite into that.
Yes, I know. But milking?
Oh,
No.
What term would you use?
Venom extraction. So, yeah, he would dilute them, and he would increase, after he, got droopy-eyed and tired, he'd recover, and then he'd be like, okay, cool, I need to inject again, but a slightly higher dose, because now my body's building. And once it stops affecting him, better up the dosage, so that I am eventually immune to a full bite.
This is lunacy.
I don't disagree.
Did this man wake up every day fearing the Raiders of the Lost Ark falling into a snake pit?
Well, see, that's the thing. Snakes.
Why
did it have to be snakes? He has no fear of them, and neither does Illinois Jackson, who has a crippling fear of scorpions himself. That's more Illinois Jackson lore.
Don't you tie me into him.
You inspired the character.
I thought Sam Elliott inspired the character.
He did. So, now we bring to the major point of contention. At least for me. The wider world doesn't seem to really care because they're not doing collegiate level research on this stuff. And again, so many people lock the full articles behind their paywalls that you'd never be able to cross-reference. I was like, F12ing into the code of the website and trying to just read it in the text bodies. I was giving out dummy emails so I could read stuff, all kinds of crap. I haven't had to do this since I was still using Adobe products, which I'll never do that again.
Oh, yeah. I've never used Adobe, but for everyone I've heard, they say it's awful.
So a major point of contention is the New York Times claims that the trauma of 9/11 caused him to intentionally let the two snakes bite him in a suicide attempt, only to reawaken from a coma days later, determined to save the world from snake venom and avoidable deaths.
What the hell?
And see, that's what I reached out to him about, because I'm like, hey, no one else says that you were so distraught over 9/11 that on 9/12 you tried to kill yourself with snakes. It's just them. It is only the New York Times, and that is a big enough scoop that other people would talk about it. And that was the hook that went viral, was like, some dude from Wisconsin was like, 9/11, never again, snakes. So
I know I keep trying to use rationale for this, any sort of logic, but snakes are such a prevalent part of this story, and
why did it have to be snakes? I agree.
No, why? How are there this many snakes in this man's life?
Have you ever been to Australia?
You said he was in Wisconsin.
Yeah, but Australia still exists.
Yeah, but how is this guy encountering so many snakes?
Can I just continue, please? Every other website claims that he just happened to get bit while working on with his more than 70 venomous snakes in his collection in 2001, but that he actually started his self-immunization quest a year earlier in the year 2000. So Tim's cycle of exposure rotated through multiple species, meaning a black mamba would bite him at one point, and after that, then he'd, let a rattler bite him, or a viper, or whatever. So he was constantly cycling. Like when you go to the gym and you target different parts of your body on different days of the week. You cycle so that nothing gets overworked. However, this hyper-boosted broad-spectrum antibodies that neutralized multiple forms of venom, meaning key types of protein that were effective against all of them were getting super strong.
I don't know why you would have this, but do we know what his blood type is?
I didn't ask.
Okay.
If he gets back to me about the journalist suicide thing, I'll let you know, though.
Because this is... I feel like someone who's like, oh yeah, well, we're getting some blood donor from this guy. You're the same blood type as him. You'll also be immune to, like, most snakes.
So all snakes belong to one of 4 categories, with the Human Anti-Venom Project focusing on vipers and, I believe it's pronounced, elapids, which are the deadliest snake forms. They're currently giving these synthetic Tim Friede blood-based anti-venoms to veterinary clinics in Australia for treatment against dogs that are bitten by snakes out there, because that's incredibly frequent, and that has the highest concentration of the deadliest snakes on the planet. And they're doing this while they await the human trials of his blood. Although, if I'm being honest, if I'm a guy in Australia or anywhere and I get bit by a venomous snake and they're like, we haven't tested this blood, I say pump it into me anyway, because it's a better chance than me not having it.
Yeah, I mean...
Back to formula.
I feel like the moment you give, like, oh, we have, like, a case of this guy's blood, you know, like, a liter of it, and you hand it to the military... Like, they're going to be like, okay, soldiers, line up. We're going to be injecting you with something and see what happens.
Are you accidentally recreating the Cobra soldiers from G.I. Joe, the first one? Was that Rise of Cobra, or was the second one Rise of Cobra?
I have no knowledge.
The first one. The one with Channing Tatum in it for more of the movie.
Like, I've heard enough stories from, like, veterans and stuff like that where they're like, oh, yeah, they would just, like, put us out in the desert and we'd, like... you know, try out some new MREs and stuff, and it wasn't really legal, but, you know, whatever. So, snake venom blood, that's not even...
Cobras and mambas, their snake bites are paralyzing in nature.
Yeah.
With toxins, while vipers will rip and destroy human flesh, causing to bleed out. Tim is immune to both forms of snake.
Okay. Like...
his body just doesn't care. Like, if you bite him, he has a hole in him from teeth, but the venom will not eat away at his skin. It will not paralyze him. It will not kill him. His heart won't stop. So, anyway, does he belong in a museum? Or, I guess he's already in a lab.
I mean, in a way, like, what he is, which is super crazy and interesting.
Of just a Batman villain.
Of just someone who's like, hey, science, here's skipping ahead a couple thousand degrees of, like, advancement. But also how he was just like, I'm a normal guy, and maybe 9/11, and now I'm this. Like, the story of how a regular guy goes to become a genetic thing like that, it's crazy. And I honestly think science needs more people, like more instances of, like, lowering the threshold into advancement. Because this was just some guy in Wisconsin. He was like a mechanic, you said?
Yeah, he was a truck mechanic, and he was like, snakes. And either was just interested enough that he led here, or was like, oh, snakes. Also the World Trade Center.
I mean, I can't imagine that he was a U.S. citizen during 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, it affected him, but whether or not...
he was definitely undoubtedly going through something at the time.
When you report that someone's superpowers are born of an attempted snake-based suicide, you better give me a pull quote, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of...
J. Jonah Jameson would never stand for this.
There was a couple in Oklahoma that tried to make a super snake.
Of course.
They got uranium, snake, and alcohol, and the alcohol was for the snake. So part of it's just thinking is like, would he be immune to the super snake that was given uranium?
Is this like your Kong v. X Godzilla supernova premise? It's just Tim Friede v. uranium snake?
Yeah. Well, the snake was euthanized.
Well, then it wouldn't be a very good fight, would it?
No. I mean...
he'd definitely win. It's dead.
Yeah. Well, maybe the venom harvested from its corpse. Much like how Mechagodzilla was made from stuff. I don't know. They change the origins every iteration.
My right eye just started twitching when you said that.
Normally, I only get your eye to twitch whenever I like reference Katy Perry or something.
You mean the esteemed astronaut? Uno reverse.
Okay. Uh, yes, I think he belongs in a museum. I
All
think
right. Hey, Illinois,
no.
go put him next to the samurai, will ya?
Why is he-
Okay, will do.
Which samurai? We've covered two.
It's by all of the it's by the samurai wing. It's over by the dire wolves. Okay, we have multiple wings to this museum. Don't be obtuse.
Look, I got lost and I found a Dippin' Dot station and I've been waiting for it to open. It's unmanned right now and I
No,
don't.
that's the Dippin' Dots museum wing.
Such
no.
an idiot.
Illinois, we need better markings. People are confused. The food court's over behind the woolly mammoths. Okay.
We have a food court?
It's a work in progress.
Anyway, yeah,
Maybe we can offer that AI New York Times author a job working there when they disbar him or whatever they do to
I
journalists.
mean, the construction.
Topher Grace got kicked out for one bad photo.
I mean, the construction got like
And that's the movie with the Venom in it.
the construction would go faster if we didn't have dogs doing it. Which
Yep.
is why if you hear dogs barking in the background of any of our
Are
episodes,
you adding lore?
it's because of construction for the food court. It's not because we have 3 dogs, one of which is an annoying Chihuahua wiener dog mix who keeps starting fights that he can't win.
The one from the Sofubi episode.
Yes.
This has been It Belongs in a Museum. We have been exhausted. Thank you for watching, dear listener.